I would go probably do a video on this. But why not just go on live and just do it instantly? Because let's face it, at this current moment of time right now, Ariel Helwani probably has not uploaded the video yet because he is still in his live stream mode right now with Berg. Now, let me tell you why this particular content is important to make right now, right? Because a couple of reasons. Number one, let's talk about the lawsuit that is happening with Berg and Strickland. Okay, this is a very important topic to bring up because a lot of you out there, and me included, who are free speech absolutists, or at least many of you claim to be free speech absolutists until, of course, something comes your way and then you don't like it, then you decide to either do something about it in a violent reprisal type of matter, or in the matters of, let's say, court systems or lawsuits or litigations and things of that nature, right? So many of you are not free speech absolutists in the way that you think. And a lot of people don't claim to necessarily be free speech absolutist to any degree. They don't claim to be that at all. Which is why a lot of you really have to be very careful about what you say, because there's consequences behind it, and Strickland is going to feel the wrath of that through Berg. Because right now, Berg doesn't like the fact that Strickland went after his business. It's one thing to go after, let's say, you being a fake black belt, you being a fraud of a black belt, right? But it's another thing to go after a man's business, and as a result of going after that business, this is the reason why Strickland could be paying a whole lot of money for a very long time, and everything that he had just earned in the UFC, all the pay-per-view fights that he had with Dricus, the fight with Israel Adesanya, all these other fight nights, and these other, salaries that he's made, it's going to be a very big problem when he has to relinquish some of his earnings to Berg, all because he had decided to not be responsible with what he wants to say. Look, guys, I'm going to tell you something. I got a lot of different people out there that I don't like, okay? A whole wide range of people that I don't like. But I don't go after their business, ever. And many people that I go after, or many people that I don't like or have beef with, they have businesses. But I don't go after them. I don't go after their business. But for the record, I don't go after them, period. If you got beef with me, that's all on you. And be that as it may, it's going to be settled one way or another in the way that it needs to be settled, or it may never even be settled at all. But on any regard, don't go after people's business. That's the number one rule you have to understand when it comes to being a public figure. You see, maybe I'm not talking to everybody when it comes to this particular subject matter at hand, right? Maybe I'm not talking to everybody out there, because not everybody is looking to be on the internet, and not everybody is looking to be a YouTube star in any kind of way, and that's perfectly fine. Many people are not looking to become professional fighters, and this is the same thing that Berg has explained to people. This is the same thing that he's been saying to people when they challenge him about his black belt. Now, for Strickland to call him out on his black belt, that's one thing. But to go after his business, okay, now that is very problematic. What is this? Okay, Ariana says, hi, how are you? Let me know what part of the world you are from. I think this is the first time I've seen you here, so let me know what part of the world you are from, and don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because not only am I going to talk about the lawsuit that Berg has going on with Strickland, but we're also going to talk about the Ariel Helwani interview. And also, here's another shocking thing that I want to give you guys a little bit of some heads up on, okay? A lot of you hate rich people. Can we agree to that? Especially if you got nothing going on in your life. Especially if you are dirt poor. You're going to hate rich people. It's just a natural order of things. It's not necessarily the way that I want it to be. It's not necessarily the way that I look at the world. But rest assured, Sean Boy says, you're my favorite YouTuber. All right, man. Hey, bro, I miss you. Shout out to you, my man. Am I really your favorite YouTuber? Bro, that's awesome, bro. That is awesome to hear, bro. That is absolutely awesome to hear. You know what? That's a good sign. I'm going to tell you why that's a good sign, right? It's a good sign because a lot of people out there start their YouTube, you know, and, you know, there's a few people that will watch them, or a few people that will, you know, follow what they say or what they do. But by the end of it all, man, a lot of people don't really say that they are their favorite YouTuber, at least not in the early stages. So you saying that, I think, yeah, I think that means, you know, a whole lot there. He says, this motherfucker's looking right at the camera while driving, laughing my butt off. Sean Boy says, I don't hate them, but I'm jealous of their wealth and luxury lifestyle, going on vacations many times a year. Okay, this is natural. This is absolutely natural to feel that way, right? Unless, of course, look, here's the thing, right? As Muslims, that is one problem that we don't have, right? We don't look at another person's wealth and say, well, you know what, I want to be just like this person, or this, that, and the other. We don't think of the world in that particular matter. We don't think of the world in that light, right? You're right, bro. You are my favorite YouTuber. Shout out to you, my man. Thank you so much, and I hope that you are doing well wherever part of the world that you are at right now. So, okay, check this out, right? I'm gonna let's see. Still hear me? Let me know if you guys can still hear the audio right now, just to do a little bit of a mic check. 1 2 1 2. I'm gonna step out right here in the basketball court, and let's see. Let me know if you guys can hear what I'm saying here. Let's see here. What did he say here? Really, is most of them have never struggled, and they don't know how it is to suffer, so usually they don't help the homeless people. Okay, so that is one aspect of it, but the reason why I brought that up is because of this subject matter that we are talking about with Berg, right? Berg, and how a lot of people are sort of getting at him, right? And then this is sort of like the reaction to the Ariel Helwani interview. Okay, so what I got out of the Ariel Helwani interview with Berg is that Berg seems to be a very, how do I say this? Very reasonable-minded person. You know, he says, you look Samoan. Somalian, you mean? The Samoan. Well, I am part Islander, but I'm mostly Arabic, but yeah. Lawrence, shout out to Lawrence, man. Let me know what part of the world you are from, my man. Okay, so check this out, right? A lot of people were saying all of these negative things about Berg, including Sean Strickland. Now Sean Strickland is going to feel the wrath of the civil lawsuit and the potentiality of having his wages being garnished, right? All of that hard work down the drain for nothing. However, you also got to understand, from what I understand about American law and civil lawsuits and things of that nature, it takes a very long time to get all of these things done, right? To get all of these ducks in a row. So he says you are frozen. Okay. How about now? Am I frozen now? He says, from Florida, I'm Samoan. Oh, okay, shout out to you, my man. Shout out to you. You know, I hang out with a lot of Usos and whatnot, so, you know, shout out to you on that one. How about now? Am I still frozen? Let me know. Let me know if I'm still frozen, guys. Okay, good. Okay, so going back to what I was saying, right? Listen, a lot of people are hating on Berg because, let's be honest, he's a rich guy. We don't know how he got his money. That's irrelevant. Obviously, Ariel Helwani was sort of grilling him about how he got his money. I thought that was really interesting. So, okay, he says, Fiji Shake. I don't understand what that means. I liked and subscribed. No, you're not frozen. Okay, awesome. Okay, so a lot of people were getting at Money Berg because, all right, you know, you got your black belt too early. People don't like that you have money. People don't like that you got all of these fighters that want to hang out with you, right? Jake Shields, TJ Dillashaw, the list goes on of the people that are in the Money Berg camp, right? So naturally, it's going to be very easy for people to be jealous of this guy, okay? Now, prior to this interview, I was thinking, oh man, the way that people are hating on this guy, he must be a dick. He must be a dick. Come to find out, he's nowhere near of being a dick in any kind of degree, right? Come to find out, in this Ariel Helwani interview, he came across as rather reasonable. He came across as very polite. He came across as somebody that handled these tough questions very well. And if there's anything that Ariel Helwani is good at, he is good at grilling at you, man. He is really good at grilling at you. But he didn't allow all of that grilling to get him out of his character. It didn't make him become agitated in a way that would make him look very bad. In fact, look, let me tell you what I got out of this whole Money Berg situation, right? I felt that he came across as rather reasonable. Did anybody get that idea? Or I don't know if you guys have already seen the interview. I'm assuming you guys probably did not see the interview, but this was the reason why I was sort of planning on making this into a video form first before going into a live stream. And then I figured, I was like, you know what, let's just get the live stream going, because for those of you that are YouTube content creators, the one thing that you do know is that it is a lot easier to do a live than it is to shoot an entire video. Like, with a live, you just put on the title, you maybe a description, maybe a thumbnail that you picked out from, you know, Google Images, and then that's it. That's it, right? You're on your way making content, which is what we're doing right now. Ariel Helwani just got done with that interview, and he's still live right now. For those of you that don't know how Ariel Helwani does his shows, he does. I wanted to. Okay, so what I gather out of Money Berg is that yes, he is of a certain tribe. He says, he's back. That's right, man. You know what? I was thinking, man, I gotta go do a reaction to this. You know, to this Money Berg stuff, right? Because I figured, you know what, there's some people are very angry at Money Berg, right? I'm going to tell you why. Number one, people are angry at Money Berg because he's a black belt, right? Well, the question is, how did he become a black belt? Well, obviously, he has all the wealth in the world to pay for trainers, to pay for training partners, to show up at his house. And here's the thing that many people who may be on the side of Money Berg, because it seems like I'm on the side of Money Berg, right? But I'm going to be very objective about this. The fact that Jake Shields gave him a black belt, it could be predicated on the fact that Shields is being favored by him. And as a result of that, Jake Shields favors him, because he's the one that's paying for Jake Shields to come out to his house, having private lessons, fly him around the world wherever he's at, give him financial incentives. So maybe the judgment and the jiu-jitsu instructor mind of Jake Shields is favoring this guy in a very positive way. That is a possibility, right? He's favoring him in a very positive way. But it doesn't erase the fact that there are people out there who train long enough they can become experts in something. Look, this is going to shock a lot of you. Jake Shields, I'm sorry, not Jake Shields, another Jake, Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a black belt in boxing. And you're probably thinking that's a crazy thing to say. He's a black belt in boxing. How is that possible that he's a black belt in boxing? Because there's no black belts in boxing. There's only championship belts. Well, here it goes, right? The reason why I say that is because he's trained long enough, has demonstrated a certain level of skills, a certain level of capabilities, and as a result of that, you can translate and call him a black belt, or at least an expert. Now, how did Jake Paul get up there? Okay, this is how he got up there. Number one, he got up there because he spent all the money in the world to have the best trainers in the world. J. Leon Love, a guy who trained, or I'm sorry, the guy who fought for PBC, right? Real legitimate professional boxer, okay? Now, he fought David Benavidez. Obviously, he didn't do too good. He didn't live up to the status of David Benavidez, but he was a good enough boxer for who he was and what he was able to accomplish, okay? So that's J. Leon Love, and then this is who the guy, this is who Jake Paul trains with. So, now, he's obviously a much better boxer than when he was during his YouTube days. And how did he get up there? Well, he got up there because of the fact that, hey, you know what? He had decided that, yeah, you know what? I'm going to spend all my time and energy on this, and in hopes that, hey, I'm going to become an expert. And the next thing you know, he becomes an expert. So this is not that unusual. This is not an unusual occurrence whatsoever. It's not unusual. So I need you guys to understand that. Excuse me just a second. I'm going to get off camera for a second and then continue on audio. He says, Strickland is based. Well, look, here's the thing, right? What makes Sean Strickland based? Because in all honesty, you know what I think about Sean Strickland, in all honesty? I think he's just a guy that likes to spew off any random thing that he can, and he hopes that it sticks. I don't think that the guy is based. Look, Sean Strickland doesn't believe in anything, right? He's like, oh, here's the thing, you guys. Here's the thing, you guys. You know, and then every time he says, here's the thing, you guys, it is as if he has something intelligent to say, but in reality, he just does nothing but regurgitate a whole bunch of Fox News rhetoric. Right? It's not intelligent at all. It's not based. It's not any of these things. Based is when you actually believe in something. What is it that Sean Strickland actually believes in? He believes in absolutely nothing. That's why it's insane when I hear you guys say Sean Strickland is based or this and that. Look, we're not talking about kicks and punches here, okay? Sean Strickland is a good fighter, okay? We can criticize his knockout power. We can criticize his lack of finishing abilities, even though he's had a few good finishes. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the hypocrisy of Sean Strickland and the fact that Sean Strickland literally put himself in a situation right now where he could get sued. Why? Because he's not a very smart individual. I'm sorry to say that, guys. I know that hurts a lot of Sean Strickland fans' feelings, but he's not an ideological person. Give me one good reason why Sean Strickland is based. Give me right now. He says that Derek Money Berg is a weasel. Well, here's the thing. How so? I need you to explain to me how he's a weasel, and it better be not any Sean Strickland rhetoric, right? Now, please explain to me. Because, look, I don't know anything about his business. I don't know anything about crypto investments, or I don't know if that's even what he's investing is crypto or anything like that. I'm not really sure what it is that he, relatively is investing in, right? So I can't tell you one way or another. And then even me myself, even if I had investments or anything like that. I don't know much about it other than what I know for what I need to know, right? So again, explain to me why he's a weasel. And here's the thing, maybe you're right. Maybe Money Berg is a weasel. And I may not know it, but explain to me why. Explain to me why he's a weasel. So, Victory says, yeah, after listening to that interview with him, I don't really see the problem. He spent a ton of money to speed up the process. Well, there you go, right? You know, there's a similar story to this in the world of hip-hop. There's this guy named Brandon who worked for No Jumper Podcast, right? He claimed to have been a jiu-jitsu black belt, right? And he said that he got his black belt in less than a couple of years because, I mean, it's very similar. I urge you guys to look up Brandon No Jumper, right? So one day, No Jumper, as you guys know, the company of Adam 22, right? The hip-hop company of Adam 22, they got an audition going on in LA, right? What did they do with the auditions in LA? What they did with the auditions in LA was they decided, hey, you know what? We're going to have new people come in and we're going to talk. We're going to hear their stories. We're going to hear why they want to be here and why they want to do this, that, and the other. So then Brandon gets into a boxing match, a body-only boxing match or a sparring match with some of these random people here. And then lo and behold, what happened? He got knocked down, right? Which, by the way, is not indicative of his jiu-jitsu skills in any kind of way. But I urge you guys to take a look at that story. It's very similar to that of Money Berg right now. So, going to Money Berg, you're right. He comes across as a very reasonable person there, right? And what you said right here, Victory, is very important right here, right? He says, yeah, I don't really see the problem. He spent a ton of money to speed up the process. Yeah, that is why a lot of people have a problem with him. I need you to think about that. Many people have a problem with him because of that reason alone. Read the last sentence that you just wrote. Spent a ton of money to speed up the process. Very few people can spend money to speed up the process and whatever it is that they want to do. Look, here's the reality of jiu-jitsu, right? You want to know why it takes guys a real long time to get good at jiu-jitsu or to become a black belt level in jiu-jitsu? Because it takes time. Okay, most people have to go to work and then they have to go home and then they have to decide whether they want to go to the gym, lift weights, or go to a martial arts gym and hit the bag or do martial arts. That is a choice that a lot of people have. Okay, Ivar says, I don't like how he exploits low-paid UFC fighters to promote his course. He's also a fake black belt. Okay, so I'll tell you where I agree with you on this, right? I agree with the first part that you said. He exploits low-paid fighters. I'm going to tell you why I agree with that in a minute. But let me tell you, the idea of fake black belt, I'm going to resent that, okay? I'm going to resent that because look, let me explain why I resent that statement. Why you calling him a fake black belt, right? I resent that statement because, understand this, Jake Shields is a credible jiu-jitsu instructor and a credible grappler, okay? I believe in his reputation. I've seen his reputation. I understand Jake Shields' grappling prowess. So to call him a fake black belt is an insult to Jake Shields' integrity, okay? That is my personal opinion. Now, you could be right. You could be right that he is a fake black belt because Jake Shields may have sped up his process due to being favored by Money Berg. So that is a possibility. I'm not holding you back on that possibility. There are some real possibilities in that. Mark Haney says Jake Shields is not a fake black belt. No, he wasn't calling Jake Shields a fake black belt. He was calling Berg the man of the subject that we talked about in the previous stream, right? That's who he was talking about. Who's a fake black belt. Okay, so I don't like that idea. But here's what I do like what Yvonne says. And by the way, I'm going to pin your comment because it's important, right? Okay, so the first part that you said, I 100% agree with you. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why right now, why I agree with that notion. The reason why I agree with that notion, because I've seen this in the gangster world. I've seen this in the hip-hop street world, okay? And let me explain what I mean by that. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Tekashi 6ix9ine, when he met with the 8 Trey Bloods of New York, he was one of the richest rappers in the world. He did not grow up in that neighborhood with those 8 Trey Bloods. He did not grow up in a gang neighborhood. He is not gang in any kind of way whatsoever, right? Now, these gangbangers, okay, are some of the brokest people you will ever meet, both financially and also inside their souls. That's just the reality of it. I'm sorry to anybody who's down with the gangbang world or any of my homies out there, but this is just a reality of the situation, right? There's a lot of broke people, both financially and spiritually and mentally, right? So when you got a rapper who doesn't have the reputation that you have to go out on those missions, to go out on those rides, to go out and slide against the enemy on the other side, okay? This rapper is going to come in there and he's going to use your reputation to big himself up. So you're right. In a way, he is sort of exploiting that idea. Mark Haney says, I was going to say, I seen Jake get his black belt from Cesar Gracie back in 08, maybe 07. Okay, there you go. Yeah, he got it in 08, 07, and then next thing you know, he fought George St. Pierre in 2011, and yeah. Okay, so makes sense, So, yeah, man. Look, this guy, I don't understand what the problem is, right? This guy never said that he was going to be a world jiu-jitsu champion. If anything, you guys should have, and I think you guys do, a lot of you have a problem with Jake Paul, because he is going out there saying that he can beat a world champion. So the fact that he believes he can beat a world champion, a lot of you are going to have, well, you're going to have a natural backlash about that. See what I'm saying? It's just natural that you are going to have that kind of backlash against him. But why Berg? He told you in the interview he's a hobbyist. He's a hobbyist. So that's really what it is by the end of the day. You know what I mean? So let me know some comments and opinions on the chat below. What you guys think about that, because we're here to talk about it. That's a little bit of my monologue. Let's get some Q&As going, or let's get some comments going on this particular subject matter at hand, because I think that many people are really mistaken on Berg, and on top of that, I think that it is really dumb of Sean Strickland to go after him in this kind of way. But then again, Sean Strickland is not really the sharpest tool in the shed. You see, let me explain something to you guys. There are certain people that I will not go after, because I know that their reprisals is not with a gun, it's not with a fist, or it's not with a group of people that are going to come after me. Their response is lawsuits and litigations. And I've known a lot of people like that in my whole life. I would not engage with them in any kind of way, where I would defame them or anything like that, because this is the constant result of that reality. He says, you also have to take what Gordon said about him. All these guys are signing off on him, so he has to be legit. Elaborate on that a little bit. What did Gordon say about Berg? because you know, I don't keep up with these jiu-jitsu guys unless, of course, they are in this situation of a news cycle that deals with big name MMA fighters. But yeah, what did he say in regards to that? I'm curious to know. He says, I just told you last stream. Oh, yeah. Well, remind me again for the new audience that, you know, that may not have seen the last stream. Remind the audience again what you know, what he said, because to be honest with you, I kind of forgot. I'm sorry, man. I had like 1,000 things going on in my mind in between the streams. But yeah, let me know what did Gordon say in relationship to that. Did Gordon say that he was a legit black belt? Did Gordon say that he's not a legitimate black belt? And if so, yeah, let me know on the comment section below. He said he could go into any gym and compete or beat any of their black belts. Okay, good. So I'm glad you made that very specific. He talked about it on Joe Rogan. Okay, so there you go, right? Look at Berg. He's built like I wouldn't say, you know, he's kind of built like a power lifter in a way, right? He looks like he's got, you know, some size on him. He looks like one of those guys that you know, body builds for size and not necessarily for like being shredded or anything like that. Like those guys that just like to look big, you know, with tight shirts and whatnot, right? So that's not that unusual, or it's not that unreasonable to say that, right? Because Gordon said black belts. He didn't say pro BJJ Abu Dhabi you know, level grapplers or anything like that. He literally just said black belts. And I don't know if you guys have met enough BJJ black belts, but they are not, but a lot of them are just guys who stuck around long enough, or guys that had enough money to stick around to train for that long. I mean, I want you guys to think about that. You know what I mean? Yeah, he talked about it on Rogan. Okay, yeah, I got to go see that one. Yeah, so that's what I mean, right? Like, Gordon says that. What reason would Gordon have to say that? Now, is he paying Gordon in any kind of way? That's what I want to know. Is he paying Gordon in any kind of way? And if so, well, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, if he's not paying Gordon, then I don't know why Gordon would even say that, unless, of course, it's true. Look, a lot of these jiu-jitsu guys, they're not liars about how people do in the gym. Okay, and if Gordon is saying that, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Gordon Ryan is someone I love and hate all at the same time. Well, from what it sounds like to me, Mark Haney, you are an objective person, my man. That's what it sounds like to me, right? You see, one of the problems that a lot of people have in today's society is that they don't know how to be neutral. They don't know how to be truthful. And then they also don't know how to be objective, which, by the way, goes into the aspect of emotional intelligence. You see, if you have the emotional intelligence to say that I hate this about this person, but this is also one thing that I like about this person, it shows you have high emotional intelligence. That's what that means. And unfortunately, a lot of people out there don't have high emotional intelligence, but Berg seems to have a lot of high emotional intelligence. The way that he went at Ariel Helwani, look, let me tell you something, man. Guys that don't have a high emotional intelligence are going to look at what Ariel Helwani did and say, man, you know what? F Ariel. Ariel is now my enemy. Right? That's not the case. That's not the case. That is not the case at all. What he did was say, hey, you know what? Ariel, I understand why you have this worldview. I understand why you feel this way. I understand why you're looking at situations like this, but you are wrong. Okay, you are wrong, and these are the reasons why you are wrong. All right? I think that showed a lot of emotional intelligence on his part. And unfortunately, this is something that a lot of people are missing in today's day and age. They don't have high emotional intelligence. English literate says, what a time to be alive. Yes, I agree with you, my man. I agree with you. It is absolutely a beautiful time to be alive. Now, what made you say that out of my curiosity? I'm just curious to know what made you say that. Is it because of this news that is going on, or is it because of all the different news cycles that are going on in the world? Let me know what you mean by that, my man. But I do agree with you. It is a beautiful time to absolutely be alive. But I'm just wondering, what made you say that. But either way, man, even if there wasn't all these news cycles going on, it is a beautiful time to be alive nonetheless. And by the way, let me know what part of the world you are from, English literate. Let me know what part of the world all of you guys are from. Shout out to everybody, all the new subscribers, and all the people out there that are tuning into the channel. By the way, guys, this weekend, UFC 321, Abu Dhabi, it's going to start very early in the morning. You know what time it's going to start in the West Coast? 7 a.m. prelims. I'm going to be there. Are you going to be there? Because I will be there 7 in the morning to cover this fight. So hopefully you guys will join me in this in this great event in Abu Dhabi, because I love Abu Dhabi cards, man. I love cards that take place in Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, for the simple fact that they start very early, way earlier than the UK British cards. He says, Kheer, where and what camp did you train with? I train all over Sacramento, and I've also trained with Team Alpha Male. So yeah, Sacramento, mostly in Sacramento and whatnot. We have, aside from MMA's Gold and Team Alpha Male, there's a wide range of boxing gyms that come out of Sacramento. There's a wide range of Muay Thai gyms and also Jiu-Jitsu gyms as well. There's Cassia Warneck that trains out of here. Who else? Who else are some prominent black belts that are out here? Fabio Prada, obviously from Team Alpha Male. Dustin Akbari, a guy who I've trained jiu-jitsu with over the years. Obviously a jiu-jitsu black belt. Also, also a training partner of Uriah Faber. Has fought Evan Dunham. And he has competed against Nate Diaz in an all-grappling tournament before. Right, and he actually beat Nate Diaz in an all-grappling tournament before. So, a little fun fact about Dustin Akbari. But yeah, these are some of the Sacramento guys that we have going on here. So, and I believe you train in the Bay Area, right? So you've trained with Jake Shields before in the Cesar Gracie camp, from what I understand, right? Man, you know what? I wonder what the Diaz brothers think about the backlash that Jake Shields has going on right now, or even still talk. I also wonder what Gilbert, thinks about this as well, right? So it's like very nice. Yeah. You're a NorCal guy. You're pretty familiar with with these parts of the world and whatnot. So yeah. He says, so I trained with Ralph. Okay, it's Ralph Gracie since 2000. Wow. Okay, yeah, you're an OG then. You've definitely been around even way before MMA was popular. You know what? A lot of older dudes that I know, that were tapped into MMA at that very early stage on are usually either NorCal or SoCal guys, right? Because when you're talking about American MMA, especially with Brazilian American MMA, yeah, I would say that that is particularly the West Coast, North and South, and then the East Coast on top of it. So yeah, I'm also older. I'm 40. I'm also older. I'm 40 years old. Okay, so we're around the same age. But I was in the gym with my father since the mid '90s at Ralph's. Wow. Okay, so you definitely have trained for for quite some time now, for sure. Okay, very interesting. All right, man. All right, so yeah, man. So what else do you guys think about this Berg guy, right? Like, you know what? I think that all of this is going to be one of those storylines that is hot right now, and it's going to be hot in MMA for quite some time. But at the same time, I also think that these are one of these stories that are not going to be remembered for a long time. You know, and I could name several MMA storylines that are like that. For example, do you guys know the old school MMA journalist by the name of Loretta Hunt? Do you guys know her? Are you familiar with her in any kind of way? Because I believe Dana White slagged her off back in like 2009, right? It was a big story at that time in MMA for what that's worth, because MMA wasn't really that big back then, right? So next thing you know, the whole world has forgotten about the Loretta Hunt, Dana White situation. I remember during that time, I had a buddy of mine, message Loretta Hunt, right? And he was kind of like trolling her at the time. And this was at the time where these people, okay, in the world of MMA were able to respond back to you, because MMA wasn't that big back then. Right, so he responds back to my friend and he says, hey, why don't you stop harassing me or this and that? I'm so sick and tired of these questions. So basically, Loretta Hunt just went after her as a result of that. Marky says, I had one fight with Cage Rage over 16 years ago in Richmond, California. I won by KO at 1:16 seconds. Okay, awesome, man, awesome. So good, you do have some fight experience under your belt. That's awesome. Victory says, I think there are a lot of guys that have the same thing Berg has done. They just don't go to the public with it. You are right about that. Listen, that's a very good point, Marty. I'm going to mark that comment right there, okay? Does Zuckerberg have a BJJ belt? He does, but he's not a black belt, right? He's trying to earn it the hard way. You know what I mean? But then again, listen, if you're a jiu-jitsu instructor, and this is the reason why I'm not a jiu-jitsu instructor, because number one, I'm not even a black belt, right? So I don't know how favorable I would act, let's say, towards somebody that would pay me more money. It's just human nature. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I get the arguments that people have, but the arguments that people have is what I would call low-hanging fruit. Because ultimately, if you don't like Berg, okay, you don't like him because he's Jewish, you don't like him because he's got more money than you don't like him because he has a receding hairline and he tries to look like he's Andre the Giant with long curly hair, yet he has a receding hairline. For whatever reason, you don't like him, right? For whatever reason you don't like him, you're going to use any low-hanging fruit you can find to basically, just do that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's really what it is. It's just looking for low-hanging fruit. Let's see here. Mark says, I competed in Grappler's Quest. Oh, okay, Naga and Gracie's Open. Okay, very familiar with those competitions, or all the local competitions here. Victory says, awesome, dude. I'm surprised that didn't make you want to fight, that didn't want you to fight again. Victory says, I suppose the biggest problem is that he hasn't tested himself in competition to prove his skill set. Well, here's the thing, right? Look, what did he say in the Ariel Helwani interview just earlier? He said, guys, I started when I was 40 years old, right? I was in no illusions that I was going to compete, at this sport or the sports that are involved with any grappling compositories in any kind of way, right? He never said that. Now look, it's different me training at 40 years old because I've been training since I was a kid. Now, you're training at 40 years old and you never had martial arts experience prior to that. Prior to all of that, while I was training martial arts and while I was, in there competing and while I was in there in the gyms with some of the greatest fighters in the world, Berg was out there doing Berg things. That's what he was focused on. He was focused on, hey, you know what? I'm going to make money doing this. I'm going to come up with innovative ideas to elevate myself in a financial setting. And here he is. Now that he was able to reach the pinnacle of his financial prime, he decided, you know what? I'm going to use this money to fly guys out, hang out with fighters, and that'll be that. It is no different than rappers who never had any street credibility, who were never outside, who never banged or never, did anything in the streets or anything like that. And now all of a sudden they become rich rappers and now they want to hang out with real gangsters, right? Tupac is a great example of that. Even though Tupac has his own thug reputation in a way, joining Death Row Records only solidified him as a true Piru blood member. Marky says, I also competed in men's physique as well. I took second in amateurs and took fourth in the nationals. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, 20. Okay, so is this like bodybuilding in a way? He says, yeah. After that first fight, I lost focus on MMA due to a shoulder injury. I took time off and competed in MPC men's physique. While rehabbing a shoulder after that, I never fought again. Okay, yeah, I get it, man. It also gets hard to get back into it after a long layoff. Yes. Savachi Financial says Pac was a revolutionary, not a gangster. Pac was both, right? I think we could say that. I think that he was both, right? Now, I know a lot of people want to say that, well, you know what? He wasn't a Blood Piru member, but there are Blood Piru members till this day that will tell you Pac got put on, right? And here's one thing you got to understand. It's the same thing that goes on with fighters and their trainers, right? You may not like the fact that these guys were given a status by their BJJ trainers, right? But it is up for the BJJ trainers to decide, and that school, that whole entire school and institution, decide whether that person deserves to be a black belt or not. That goes the same thing with hood politics. It doesn't matter if you're a Crip and you don't think that somebody should be a Blood. Number one, you're not a Blood to say whether somebody should be a Blood or not, right? You're a Crip, and that Blood can't say that that Crip has no right to be a Crip when other Crips say that he's a Crip. And we can't just dismiss that just because one Blood who's not even a Crip believes that. And I hope you guys understand the analogy that I make in that. Marky says, I competed in grappling tournaments after the shoulder injury, but I just never fought again, LOL. You know what? So here's the thing, Mark, right? There's a lot of guys out there that are like that, right? I know a lot of guys that have fought one time and then that was it. They never fought again. I know guys that have fought multiple times and then, in their mid-prime, they decided, all right, I'm just going to stop right here, right? So this is sort of the point that I'm trying to make with Berg. Berg has his own martial arts journey that he's trying to go through, right? So you, as Marky, you have you have one fight in MMA, and that was the martial arts journey that you decided to take. And there is no fault in your part, with that in any kind of way. That is absolutely legit for you to take that route. And there's a lot of people that take that route, and you're happy with that route, right? Just like myself, I'm happy with the route that I took in martial arts. I competed in amateur kickboxing, did very well at it, got into MMA, and then that was it. I was okay with that. And it is all about your own personal journey. Now, the conflict with Berg here is that we want to equate his journey and compare it to that of Sean Strickland, which is completely unfair because Sean Strickland spent his whole entire youth training to be a fighter, and Berg spent his whole entire youth training to be a financial advisor. Victory says, I only had 4 fights. Oh, that's awesome. I hate the professional aspect associated with it as well. You know what? John Kavanagh, the trainer of Conor McGregor, right? He is the president of Ireland's amateur system, right? So he basically oversees competition in in Ireland in the amateur circuits, right? He tells all the guys that are coming into SBG Ireland, right? He tells them, if you want to go the professional route, you got to follow what Conor McGregor does, because he does everything to promote himself, this, that, and the other. Now, if you don't want to do any of that Conor McGregor stuff, you don't want to do any of that Sean Strickland stuff, you don't want to do any of that Colby Covington stuff, go to the amateurs, compete in the amateurs, and then be on your way to do whatever it is that you do with your life afterwards, right? And I think that is the best advice that a trainer, and not only a trainer, also a BJJ black belt. By the way, the first BJJ black belt in Ireland, and a gym owner, an MMA coach to say. That is the most mature thing that an amateur or an MMA coach can say. Okay, so Mark Haney says, I was Golden Gloves as a kid. I wrestled in 4 years. I trained BJJ with Ralph Gracie for 9 years solid. Well, there you go, man. That's a very good, that is a very good martial arts journey right here, there. He says, but I was allowed to wear a blue belt in the gym that was hella faded. But when competition time came, I got a purple belt. But when I came back to the gym, he would give me the blue belt back. LOL. Okay, so that right there is a natural transition for a lot of people that are sort of in that realm of jiu-jitsu, right? You know, they go back and forth with their jiu-jitsu journey, right? It's normal. These are very normal things that you've gone through, Marky. So, all right, I'm going to end it with this, right? I just wanted to come in here for a little bit less than an hour, and I wanted to keep it under an hour so maybe I can get more views on it later on so that people can rewatch it and see, hey, you know what? It's not that long. Let's see what he said for less than an hour. Okay, so I'm going to leave it off with this conclusion, okay? The conclusion is this. Understand that everyone's martial arts journey is different. Okay, that's one thing. That's the first lesson. The second lesson, watch what you say. And this is something that I have to remind myself as well, because I go at it with people all the time. I basically say things that could defame people, that could lead to a lawsuit, so I got to be very careful with that. That's the second lesson, right? And that is in regards to Sean Strickland. Number 3, this is number 3, in regards to what we learned about Berg in his interview today, right? Stop judging people. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, stop thinking the lowest of people whenever you see something you don't like about this person. All of a sudden, you want to pick at the low-hanging fruit to try and degrade them in any kind of way, and degrade them to your own pleasure, and not only to your own pleasure, but to your own well-being of feeling better about yourself. I mean, let's just really call it what it is. Oh, you know what? He's not a real black belt. You know, this and that. There is no way. But the way that I'm starting to look at this and analyze this, I'm thinking, man, he could possibly be a real black belt. So let's see here. Let's read some of these comments before I head out. So Mark says, he said, I couldn't have a purple belt until I took my first, LOL, and never did. Okay, Victory says, I've only done a small amount of gi, but I've been doing no gi for almost 11 years. Yeah, and that's crazy, right? They will never give you a black belt or a belt promotion if you've been doing no gi. Now, what's crazy is that Berg was actually doing no gi with Jake Shields, and he actually gave him a black belt as a result of that. Sabachi Financial says, Khabib shows up at a white belt in jiu-jitsu. What do? There you go, right? Khabib is a white belt in jiu-jitsu for what that's worth, but we know what that is. And once again, it kind of tells you that belts are just nothing more than status and sometimes experience, right? Getting smashed, brother. Sabachi Financial says, Berg. Sabachi, Marky says, Sabachi, I would get tapped very quickly. That's what I would do against Khabib. And Victory says, I would love to grapple with Khabib just to experience it, how he would crush me. Mark Haney says, LOL, same. Sabachi Financial says, LOL, G loyalist, funny. Yeah, so let me explain to you where the belt system came from, right? In ancient Japan, right, the samurais would wear a white belt, right? And as they started training in the farms, the belt started to get darker. The more experience that you have, your belt got darker. Ultimately, your belt would turn black because you've been rolling around in dirt for so long. You've been around the dirt for so long. You've been around different types of situations for so long that your belt becomes black, and it shows the experience that you have, not only in simulated war, but maybe even in real warfare as well. With that said, that is probably one of the reasons why many people are upset about Berg, because they felt like he didn't have any experience going to war with anybody. But again, maybe he simulated war, having real live rounds with Jake